Guys, the Hawk Tuah girl is back, and she wants you to know that she is completely innocent. The federal government, they looked into it and they said, Hawk Tuah girl, you're clean. No consequences for you. Now, you and me, we both know that's not the case, guys. But as far as the federal government is concerned, it seems like Hawk Tuah girl, Haley Welsh, is going to get away with it. No consequences. There was a lawsuit, but they sued other people, not Haley Welsh. Federal government looked into it, not going to get in trouble. So she recently released a new podcast episode, and it looks like this might be the final 15 minutes of fame for her, because the podcast that she had, Hawk Tuah, initially used to get millions of views, regularly like 500,000 views an episode. And the recent video that she put out talking about finally coming clean, that video I think as of right now has about 23,000 views. So it seems like people have kind of moved on from Hawk Tuah. But I have to be honest with you. We're going to take a look at some of the clips in a minute. But I have to be honest with you that her fame lasted this long is really amazing to me. If you don't know, it was nearly a year ago, I think it was June of 2024, that the Hawk Tuah meme burst onto the scene.
One move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time.
Oh, you gotta give him that Hawk Tuah and spit on that thing, you get me?
Now that meme, guys, I have to be honest with you, it gave me a chuckle. When I first heard it, I think a lot of people found it somewhat amusing for a couple days. But as all things happen, eventually it gets overused, and by about a week later, I think most people were sick of the Hawk Tuah meme. We wanted it to go away, but it seemed like Haley Welsh, I don't know if she made a deal with, some type of entity, but it seemed like her powers just continued to grow. Nothing could get rid of the Hawk Tuah girl. She eventually got her own merch line. She had a dating app, and then she got her own podcast, the Hawk Tuah podcast, which we'll take a look at some clips from the recent episode, guys. She only continued to grow. I think people who were religious started to pray to their gods, Jesus, Muhammad, Xenu, Cthulhu, whatever you're into. People were like, hey, please, God, take the Hawk Tuah girl away from us. We can't stand her. But it seems like the gods had forsaken us because, as I said, she only continued to grow in power. People were like, what do we need to do to get rid of the Hawk Tuah girl?
Do a barrel roll.
Not even a barrel roll. That's excellent advice, Peppy. But not even a barrel roll could stop the Hawk Tuah girl from getting more power. It seems like ultimately the only thing that was able to stop her was herself. She launched the meme coin, I believe that was in October of last year. The final grasp to try and get some money out of her fans, the meme coin launch, which is always a bad idea. Coffeezilla covered that. Bless Coffeezilla's heart. He actually made a video. It seems like it was during a thunderstorm or something. He didn't have any electricity in his house. Did it in complete darkness. Bless his heart for doing that. But the whole meme coin scam blew up. Hawk Tuah girl disappeared for a long time. At one point, she popped her head back up. She did a podcast with FaZe Clan, but that podcast got deleted after like a day because apparently it wasn't supposed to be released. And she had disappeared for months, guys. And it was only recently that she came back. She restarted her podcast after taking multiple months off. And like I said, all of the podcast clips now, all of the episodes, get significantly less views than they used to. So it seems like this is the final gasp of her internet career. This is why she did the episode Coming Clean. She thought, hey, this is the one thing I have left that people want to hear from me. So we're going to take a look at this. I have to say, before I show you the clips, she does not take any responsibility in any of these clips. She passes the blame off to other people, and she just wants you to feel bad for her. So I don't feel bad for her. And honestly, I'm kind of disappointed that it doesn't seem like she's going to face any consequences at all. The lawsuit was not against her. The federal government was like, no, you're clean. You can do whatever you want. Meme coin scam, we're cool with that. No big deal. So we'll take a look at this, but first, a quick word from today's sponsor. Longtime viewers of the channel know I got this desk from a sponsorship with FlexiSpot last year, and it's by far the best desk I've ever owned. It's the E7 Plus standing desk, and I use it like you see it now to film my videos, and then raise it up when I'm writing scripts. It has powerful motors that have a 540-pound static load capacity, which is enough to easily lift me, and the motors are so super quiet and operate so smoothly, a quarter on its side won't even get knocked over. I'm more than happy to use the E7 Plus standing desk in all my videos, so when FlexiSpot reached out and said they had a great item that goes perfect with my desk, I jumped on the offer. They sent over their 2-in-1 walking treadmill that fits perfectly under a standing desk. All I have to do is raise my desk to the standing position, and then right away I can start using the treadmill. It works great, and I'm more than happy to get some exercise in while I'm hard at work researching topics for new YouTube videos. Some of the selling points of the treadmill they sent me is that it has a total of 9 levels of incline adjustment from 1.43% incline all the way to 12% incline to increase the difficulty. It even has a Bluetooth MP3 connection so that you can jam out to your favorite tunes while getting your sweat on. The treadmill has a 275-pound weight capacity and comes with a 2-year warranty as well. FlexiSpot's Memorial Day sale is running from May 19th to the 28th with site-wide discounts of up to 65% off. If you're thinking about upgrading your workspace, now is the perfect time to do so. Check out the link down below as well as coupons to save even more on the E7 Plus standing desk or the treadmill.
Hey guys, it's finally time that we get into the meme coin disaster and address everything that's going on, and we can finally tell our truth about it as we know it, and I finally get to tell my side of the story that I've been holding on to. After reading all the comments and everything people have been saying about it, I thought it would be best if I just sat here and addressed it myself.
So why are you just now wanting to address everything?
It's something you definitely want to address, but I couldn't at the time because of like all the legal stuff going on. I was in an open investigation going to see the FBI, and then the SEC reached out. And I think somebody else reached out too, but they ended up not wanting anything after everything else was shut down. I don't know, it was very stressful because I couldn't get my point across, and I had to just sit there and let people call me a scammer, a crook, all sorts of different things.
Was stressful.
It was stressful.
All right, so this particular clip at the beginning, she starts talking about the meme coin scam. And the first thing I want to say is this seems incredibly scripted. I forget the name of her friend, but the friend's questions that she asked her do not seem natural at all. This seems like it was completely scripted out by her PR team. I think she later says she has a PR team. So this does not feel natural at all. But she talks about how how people were calling her a scammer, and she's not a scammer. She talked to the federal government. And I do believe that she did talk to the government, probably had to go talk to them. And one thing I have to say about that, it doesn't look like she's going to be punished at all for this by the government. But I will say there's one sliver, possibly. I don't think this is going to happen, but maybe. If you do know, sometimes the federal government can take a long time before they prosecute someone. Particularly, I did a video on BitConnect. There's the Craig Grant and Trayvon James, who were two of the biggest promoters of BitConnect. They actually did the same thing where they had to go talk to like FBI agents. And just now, I think it's like 6 or 7 years later, actually, after BitConnect, one of the biggest scams at the time back in 2017 and 2018, only now are they being punished and they have to actually pay money for it. So sometimes things can take years for people to actually, who promote these scams to actually be punished. Now, is that the case in this particular instance? Probably not. She's probably not going to be punished at all.
So how'd you even get introduced to like the crypto space?
I mean, it was just like any other deal that gets brought to you. Like, the deal got brought to my managers a few times by different people. I don't know, I was very hard to persuade at first because I've never heard anything good about the space, like Bitcoin, crypto. I've never heard anything good about it. And I didn't know enough to really get into it, I don't think. But I finally gave in.
All right, so this particular clip I do not like at all. She tries to spin it like she didn't know anything about crypto, and it's something she was kind of like, she was badgered into. I didn't want to do it, guys, but they kept bringing it up, and I kind of had to. Now, Haley, well, she was making absolute bank off of this one meme. She, like I said, she had her own dating app. She had a merch line. She had her own, very successful at the time, a very successful podcast, Hawk Tuah, getting millions of views, right? There was no reason or need for her to do a meme coin launch, right, that ended up in a scam. There was zero reason for her to do this. She was making more than enough money. So for her to spin this like as something like, oh, I kind of got badgered into it. Not true. Now, I'll try and find the clip, but there are several clips of her before the meme coin launch where she was talking about several people she had on her podcast. I think at one point she had Mark Cuban And she was asking him, so what kind of cryptos are you in? What should I get involved in? I think she even says, like, if I launch my own coin, would you invest in it?
Oh yeah, if I launch a meme coin, can I give you some tokens?
Yeah,
for
I'll give you my
community?
wallet. I'll give you my wallet. Angel.
Okay.
But are you sure you're gonna launch? I don't know. I'm not a big fan about meme coins. I love crypto, but you can make some money from it. There's no doubt
Yeah.
about it. No doubt about it.
So this was something that was planned out for a while. This is how she's presenting it in this video. Guys, I just kind of got badgered into it. Didn't really want to do it. I don't believe that for a second, and in my opinion, you shouldn't believe that for a second either.
So did you make anything from the coin at all?
So the only thing I made from it wasn't even from the coin. I got paid a marketing fee. That's all I made. I did not make a dime from the coin itself.
So you got paid for promoting it, or?
Just promoting it and putting all the work into it, like the videos and stuff that I do for him to post. That's what I got paid for. But the coin itself, like anything that was raised from that coin, I did not make a dime off of it. But at this point, like everything I paid for, like PR crisis, a new lawyer, stuff like that.
All that money went to that?
Every bit of it went to that. So, I mean, I've really come out with nothing.
All that trouble for nothing, guys. She wants you to feel bad for her, guys. All the people that lost money investing in the scam, don't feel bad for them. Feel bad for the Hawk Tuah girl, because she was hoping that she could make millions of dollars off of this, and she didn't. She only got a marketing fee, and then she had to spend all of that on lawyers and PR stuff, guys. So I truly, I know I'm just like you. I feel terrible for the Hawk Tuah girl, because when a scammer scams people, they deserve to make millions. I have trouble saying that with a straight face. They deserve to make millions of dollars, guys. They should not have to spend their hard-earned scam money to defend themselves with a PR team. Now, jokes aside, being serious, the one thing that was smart in her case, I don't think she was smart enough to do this, but she had a lawyer. The one thing that was marginally smart for her to do was to just receive a marketing fee. If this is true, I don't know if it's completely true, but just to receive a marketing fee as opposed to getting a bunch of money from the actual sale of the coin, if what she is saying is true. Because I think that particular instance is why she was not in the lawsuit and is why she probably will not be prosecuted at all by the federal government. If she had received money directly from selling the coin and stuff like that, she would probably be in much bigger trouble than just receiving a marketing fee for the actual coin. Now, I'm not saying, I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to give her a pass here. Obviously, she still very much is to blame for this. But I think that's the one reason she's in less trouble than she actually is because she only got a marketing fee for this project.
Do you remember when we went to the Bitcoin conference too?
Yes.
And they told us that like they were a really tight community. We sat there for how long? It was a few hours.
For hours, yeah. We
And
met a
we-
lot of people, but
I couldn't tell you what any of them
I didn't
do.
understand any of it at all.
The only thing I remember about that day, some guy handed me like a printout coin. Do you remember that? And you're supposed to scan those.
Oh, yeah.
I remember I got one of those. That's the only thing I could tell you about that whole day. Like learning wise, I feel like I did not learn anything in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I also can't pay attention to stuff like that.
That's true.
All right, so she's trying to pass it off like she had no idea what was going on. She doesn't know anything about crypto. Guys, she went to a conference and she wasn't able to pay attention. It's her ADHD is acting up. She can't, it's not her fault at all, right? Like I said, I don't believe that at all. The clip of her with Mark Cuban, she was talking about crypto. She clearly knew at least a little bit about it before the scam happened, and she was asking a bunch of questions about that. Now I think she's trying to pass it off as she's just this innocent little girl that had no idea what was happening and she was being taken advantage of.
So after I saw Michael Saylor speak at the Bitcoin conference, I have decided to start putting some money into crypto, and I just want to say, oh my God, thank you so much, Mr. Saylor.
But I don't believe at all that she didn't know at all what was going on. She had at least a moderate understanding of crypto before she did the meme coin launch. She had talked to a bunch of people. She, as in her own words, went to a Bitcoin conference. She knew at least enough to know that this was a bad idea. In 2025, or this was in 2024, she had a PR team, she had a lawyer. There should have been someone in her ear that would have been like, hey, this is a really bad idea. Don't launch this. You'll get in big trouble. People will hate you for this. Right? I don't believe for a second that there wasn't at least one person that told her this was a bad idea, but since it was easy money for her, the marketing fee at least, she was like, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway. So I don't buy this at all.
Point after the coin launch, the feds come to Granny's house and knocked on her door, and she called me having a heart attack, said, the FBI is here after you. What have you done? I was like, what? So I got their number and everything, and then I gave it to my lawyer, and then he talked to him a little bit, and they're like, oh, you're not in any trouble. We just want to ask you questions about everything. And then they wanted to see my phone. So I was like, okay, well, that's not a problem. Like, there's nothing on my phone I can hide. So we ended up picking a date to go up there. It was in Nashville, right? But we went to Nashville, and I went in this room full of men, basically, and they interrogated me, asking me questions and everything else related to crypto. All the people in my phone that I've talked to about crypto, they went through my phone. So they cleared me. I was good to go, and then the SEC picked it up. And then they didn't want to talk with me, but they wanted my phone. So I sent my phone off to them for 2 or 3 days, and I guess they cloned my phone, copied it, something. But they went through my phone. I was cleared from them, and I wasn't named on the lawsuit either.
That would have terrified me.
It was definitely scary, but at the end of the day, it's like something that makes you feel better, though. Because
you didn't have nothing to hide.
Yeah, I don't have anything to hide. I gave them everything on my phone. They went through it. They sent it back, and I was cleared. I wasn't named on the lawsuit. None of that. So, legally, I was not in any trouble.
Okay, so for this part of the story, I do actually believe her that she was contacted and she had to go up and talk to the FBI and the SEC. But I can't actually find anything from them saying that they looked into this. So you basically just have to take her word for this particular part of the story. But I do believe that's what's happened, right? I've looked into other stuff like this, specifically with BitConnect and Trayvon James. He basically gave the same story where he had to go talk to them. He initially wasn't in any trouble, and then years later, they charged him with something. So I don't know specifically. She says that they cleared her. I don't know if they told her that like they wouldn't come after her later or anything. I don't know specifically what they said to her, but generally that's how it works. First they bring you in, they interrogate you, and then maybe later, they might charge you with something. But that particular part of the story I do believe did happen. What's interesting is she gave them her phone and they basically cloned it. There are other people involved. Doc Hollywood. He was the big guy kind of behind the scenes. I did a whole video on him. He was the guy kind of behind the scenes. And if she gave them her phone, all of the messages, if it was on her phone with Doc Holliday, are going to be on there. So he could potentially be in very big trouble if the federal government, if the SEC now has access to her phone and all of the messages. He could be in very, very big trouble. All the other people involved in this could be in serious big trouble.
It makes me feel really bad that they trusted me and I led them to something that I did not have enough knowledge about. Like, I did not have enough knowledge about crypto to be getting involved with it. And I knew that. But I got talked into it and I trusted the wrong people. So that screwed me.
So right there, she had the chance. She could have apologized. And I don't think it wouldn't have made everything better, but I think a lot of people would have appreciated if she actually apologized there, but she didn't. She chose to go the opposite direction, and she's like, guys, I got screwed. I didn't know what I was doing. I got involved in something I shouldn't have, and the other people screwed me, guys, right? No accountability taken there whatsoever. So obviously, that's not going to play well. I'm sure her PR team, her legal team was probably like, hey, don't apologize. Because if she actually apologized and said, like, I shouldn't have done this. I'm sorry you all got screwed over because of what I did. Potentially that could open her up to some legal issues. So that's probably why she just doesn't come clean and say sorry. But she tries to play this off as she got screwed. Now, I think in another clip, she actually talks several times about, she doesn't specifically say who was running the meme coin, but she says the other guy that she was involved with. And specifically, I did a whole video on this months ago. I believe the other guy she's referring to is Doc Holliday. He's the guy that was on the Twitter space with CopyZilla. He was the guy that was saying like, hey guys, it's just a meme coin. It's just for fun. Nobody's going to get screwed over here. So that's the guy she's kind of trying to pass the blame to. But ultimately, they're all responsible. And I think she got off way too easy in this case. But there you go, guys. That is the, hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully that is the end of the Hawk Tuah girl saga. Like I said, the podcast is getting very little views now. And it seemed like this was the one last thing that people probably wanted her to talk about was come clean about the whole meme coin thing. And even that didn't get many views, right? There are other people who already put out videos talking about this, which have like 150,000 views. Pyro Live did a video about it, right? The actual the actual podcast where she talks about it only has 23,000 views at the time of filming this. So other people are farming her for more views than she is actually getting on the podcast. So I think at this point the Hawk Tuah career is over. I'm sure she'll try and do the podcast for a little while longer. But I have to be honest with you guys, the podcast that she's doing, they had a bunch of celebrities on. She's obviously not editing it herself. There's a whole team running this podcast. And just what I know from like doing my own YouTube channel, I do it myself. That podcast has to be incredibly expensive to run. And the amount of views they're getting now, she still has sponsorships on some of the podcasts, but even with sponsorships, the amount of views they're getting, there's no way that podcast is profitable anymore. So something needs to change. She either needs to start getting way more views or the podcast is going to stop indefinitely. Because there is no way it's profitable getting 20, 30,000 views a video when you have an entire team behind it trying to run the podcast. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think about Hawk Tuah, girl? Do you feel she is innocent? The feds say she's not responsible. She's not going to be charged. Do you now feel she is cleared, or do you not forgive her? Do you want Hawk Tuah to be over? Hopefully this is the end, in my opinion. But let me know in the comments below what you think.